Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Now at 6 a.m. on WKYT, we're tracking a death investigation in Lexington after human remains were found near a busy road.
Lexington police arrested another suspect in the city's latest murder case.
And we're tracking a wintry blast that could chill those little ghosts and goblins out there. We'll have those stories and more. And breaking news as it happens, coming up on WKYT This Morning. Hey, top of the morning to you. Welcome in. It's so good to have you with us. Here we are Thursday, October 30th, and it's starting to feel like an early winter. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. Yeah, a lot of folks I talked to yesterday about the weather, they said, oh, it seems like every Halloween we've got some kind of cold snap.
Well, you remember last year they had all that wind.
Yeah.
It was a big issue, and some communities even postponed their trick-or-treating. Hopefully we can get all that in this year as far as the fun and the trick-or-treating. But Micah, you're tracking big changes for the weekend.
Yeah, big changes, especially as we head into Halloween, off into that night and into Saturday morning. That's when the big changes come, and maybe even seeing our first snow of the season. We'll see how it turns out. There's live sky camera. It's a good shot this morning. It's on the chilly side, though. Light coat will be needed as you take off this morning, as we're sitting in the 30s for most, and by the afternoon right there, mid-50s. And mid-50s aren't all that bad. Yesterday we had mid-50s at some point during the day, but we had a lot of sunshine. It felt great, and I think we'll have some sunshine today, but clouds filter in this afternoon. Out ahead of that system, and all the focus points toward Halloween. What's it going to do with the winter weather? When does it finally start to kind of switch on over? Well, I'll talk really hour-by-hour forecast coming up to you in about 10 minutes.
Okay, we'll get that into just a bit, and here's the latest from WKYT this morning. Lexington police are standing guard right now at the site of a death investigation.
Someone found human remains last night in a field near Citation Boulevard, not too far from the Newtown Pike intersection. WKYT's Whitney Wetzel is there now live to explain what we do know about the victim at this point.
Good morning, everyone. Well, as you can see, police are guarding this area where those remains were found to make sure it wasn't disturbed overnight. The remains were discovered around 7 o'clock yesterday when a man driving near this field off Citation Boulevard stopped and saw them. Coroner Gary Ginn says they were found about 500 feet from the road in several pieces. So far, investigators have found a skull, jaw, hip, forearm, teeth, and some clothes. The coroner believes the body is a man's, but because of how much the remains were decomposed, he isn't sure how the person died. The coroner does believe the remains have been here from anywhere from 6 to 9 months.
Skunks and possums, coyotes, dogs, all those different animals eat, and so they have probably drugged different parts of this individual in different areas.
Now again, police have been out here guarding this area overnight. Investigators will be back out here during the daylight hours to continue their investigation. Live in Lexington, Whitney Wetzel, WKYT.
New this morning, a third suspect in Lexington's latest murder case is now in jail. Police had been looking for 20-year-old Savon Thompson since the murder of Jeffrey Adams on October 17th. WKYT's Mark Barber is tracking this case live for us at police headquarters. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Rebecca. Savon Thompson is now the third person charged with complicity to commit murder after a 19-year-old was found dead in an apartment building 2 weeks ago. Now, last week, police arrested a juvenile and 19-year-old Nathan Miller in connection to the murder of Jeffrey Adams. Investigators say they arrested the third suspect, 20-year-old Savon Thompson, yesterday afternoon on Alamont Court. Officers say about 2 weeks ago, 19-year-old Jeffrey Adams was killed when the three suspects met him for a drug deal at an apartment complex on McCullough Drive. According to investigators, after Adams was shot several times, the suspects took personal items from him and then took off. Firefighters found Adams lying in a hallway on the second floor. At this point, police say the three suspects are charged with complicity to commit murder because it's unclear who fired the shots that killed Adams. Thompson is scheduled to appear in court later today for an arraignment. Live in downtown Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you very much. Happening today, a former Kentucky lawmaker who pleaded guilty to murder will try to change his plea. Steve Nunn is serving a life sentence for the 2009 murder of his former fiancée, Amanda Ross. Earlier this year, he filed a motion to withdraw his guilty plea. Nunn claims his attorney failed him. A hearing on Nunn's motion is set to take place this morning. Crews have recovered a man's body after he drowned in a central Kentucky lake. Investigators say 75 25-year-old Carl Lynn of Shelbyville was with his daughter yesterday on Cedar Creek Lake in Lincoln County when their canoe flipped over. Both of them were in the water for about 30 minutes. Investigators say Lynn's arthritis and a heart condition may have made it too difficult for him to keep his head above water. His daughter survived.
More education is needed about the dangers of power lines. That's the finding in a report about an ice bucket challenge that led to the death of a Kentucky firefighter. The Kentucky Public Service Commission is the one making that recommendation. The PSC says Campbellsville fire captain Tony Grider and firefighter Alex Quinn both came in contact with the power line back in August at Campbellsville University. Quinn survived. Grider later died. The PSC says the utility company was operating within acceptable guidelines.
Even the line that runs from the utility pole down to your house, an overhead line, carries enough voltage to kill somebody.
Also in the report, Campbellsville University's director of campus safety and security said the band director had wanted to send a student up in the bucket with the firefighters to record the ice bucket challenge, but the band director later decided that could be unsafe.
The time is now 6 minutes after 6 on WKYT. We have new details this morning about the Centerpoint project in downtown Lexington. Millions of dollars in bonds will likely be sold before the first of the year. The Herald Leader reports that tax revenue generated from the $45 million development will be used to pay off those bonds. Meanwhile, work on that 3-story underground parking garage has stalled out. Developers say a giant crane is needed to continue the construction, and installing that crane at the downtown site will require Main Street to be closed for 2 days. The city says no dates have been set for that yet. Very difficult to get that scheduled. If you're still in need of a flu shot, there will be a free drive-through flu clinic going on today in Frankfort. The 3 for Free clinic is from 5:30 until 7:30 tonight. It will be at the Commonwealth Credit Union on Sauer Boulevard. In exchange for a free flu shot, participants are asked to donate 3 non-perishable food items. Only adults are eligible for today's free flu shots there in Frankfort. It's a busy Halloween weekend ahead, and the weather looks pretty rough, but a few communities were going to luck out, it looks like, because trick-or-treating for them has been scheduled tonight for some.
For some, folks in Bath, Estill, Fleming, and Powell counties will be handing out candy at various times this evening. Still, most cities will be doing their trick-or-treating tomorrow on Halloween. A couple of cities will wait until Saturday. We have a complete list of trick-or-treat dates and times on WKYT.
Sounds like we're going to get tricked with this weather, doesn't it?
It does, you know, probably not a treat.
Okay, coming up on 8 minutes after 6 right now.
Let's check now to see how traffic is moving.
And here's Officer Don with a check on live drive traffic. Good morning, Don.
Good morning. Well, we just had our first look at Versailles Road past the airport this morning, and it's a smooth ride. There's really nothing to complain about coming in from Woodford County past the airport toward the Circle. It's the same situation on the north side of town, Newtown Pike and North Broadway. No major complaints. Let's get a look outside, and we'll show you what's happening on the interstate, I-75-64 through the northern split. Exit ramps look good, too. On our Waze map, we're in good shape on the Circle itself, with all the exit ramps holding their own. Tate's Creek Road looks good. We can see the interstate, a couple of stalled cars. The heaviest traffic is on Nicholasville Road, down to 20 miles an hour in that stretch between the Circle and Man-O-War in front of the mall. We expect that this time of the morning, especially in that turn lane to the Circle. Now back to you in the studio.
All right, big weekend for Don and Deanne, certainly, with the Garth Brooks concert coming up, and they're talking about that and having fun on 98.1 The Bull. And WKYT this morning on the air with the latest, and it's so good to have you with us Thursday morning at 6:09.
How good are your ball skills? A college athlete switches sports for a chance to win $10,000.
And we're looking outside in the 30s and a couple of 40s sprinkled in here and there. Nonetheless, it's on the chilly side. There's no doubt about that. 34 now in Frankfort and Danville. Grab that coat before you take off and hold on to it. Maybe grab another one the next couple of days. Show you how cold we get coming up.